Sergio, Cosme, welcome to the Big Wave Surfing podcast. How are you in Portugal?
Hi, Ian. I'm fine. Thanks for inviting me for this podcast. It's an honor be with you and talk with you.
Oh no, it's my honor. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you.
So they call you the guardian angel of Nazare. Who first called you that? Where did that name come from?
Actually, the name comes from a documentary that Red Bull made with me about Nazare and about me, about the safety, the work I do in Nazare, and come from that video. I'm not sure who chose the name. At that time, it was Mikey Corker, the responsible of the project. So I'm not sure if he gave the name, but I was really honored and really happy when I saw the first time. And actually, the story of the guardian angel comes with a nice story, beautiful story, passing Açores.
Oh, yeah. Can you tell us that story?
Yes, nothing special, but it's if you like energies, if you understand energies, it's nice. It's a nice story. Uh, it was some months before. Actually, I think I was telling you actually there's a story behind the angel guardian of Nazare. I was in Azores, the islands, Azores, beautiful islands, and with a nice, really nice wave. And we were there, all the big wave surfers, Rodrigo Coxa, with Brian Carolan, Patrick Chong team, and all the big chargers. And it was amazing because the day we arrived, I was doing some shots from the view, from the sunset and from the clouds around, and suddenly I saw a cloud coming in my direction, and the sun, it was behind me, and it made a round rainbow, and I was wondering, well, it's possible, a small, not a worldwide rainbow. It was a small one at that specific point, and I was, it's really nice. Let me shoot this. And at that time, when I start to record, and I start to record, and I realized that it was something inside the round rainbow. And after see the movie, I understood that it was my shadow. The sun, it was behind me, and my shadow, it was really in the middle, in the center of the round rainbow. And it was amazing because I started to show, to the people who was with me, hey, look at this shot, man, it's amazing, beautiful. And people was wondering, I said it looked like an angel coming to you, it looked like God coming to you. And we were wondering and was amazed with the shot. And it was really, really fun, funny. In the next morning, I woke up. I was with the other charger, Lorenzo Kazanstein, and he was with me in the same room. And I checked my Instagram. I saw like 100 new followers, and I asked him, "There's any virus to Instagram? Because I have a bunch of followers. It's not normal. 100." And probably it's a virus, something like that. And I realized it was the movie of Red Bull. They launched the movie in that morning, and they called the movie "The Angel Guardian of Nazare." And it was really funny to make that movie the day before, and it looked like an angel coming in my direction, and this thing comes from nothing, and in the day after they launched the Red Bull movie, the Red Bull documentary, and with the name The Angel Guardian of Nazare, and I was so
That's
amazed.
great story. And do you have that shot? You have that video? Do you?
I have that video. I never use it because it's something so special, and it comes with a beautiful story behind. So I want to keep safe. Someday I want to do probably Angel Guardia of Nazare 2, or some another movie about me, about my work, and I decide to don't post it and save for a special occasion later.
Yeah,
It was nice.
keep it for the future. I mean, yeah, your work is so special because you are the guardian angel and you're out there up to 80-foot waves at Nazare with no channel. I mean, I've got to ask a question. Why do you do it?
It's a simple question. I love it.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
be really honest, I love what I do. I start to do it. This comes from a big background that I have. I start to tell my friends since 2002, 2003, 2004. I don't remember so well. Actually, I have a ticket from the police in 2004 that I couldn't tell a guy so close from the beach. I was really close from to catch the waves, of course, and uh, it was funny at that time they put me to tickets and I was telling my friends in the term of let's go to the water, catch some waves, and sometimes I live in Santa Cruz. It's a little bit gnarly. The waves here, you don't have a channel, so yeah, sometimes you need to improve, you know.
yeah,
At that time, I felt when the waves were coming bigger and you want to go outside, you can't go out alone just paddling. And sometimes we start to use the jet ski. And I realized that at certain point, I was doing a funny thing for us, but suddenly can turn into a bad situation. If I flip the jet ski or if I for any reason I couldn't save the rescue the surfer and he starts to be in a bad position or nearby the rocks or something or without breathing or something happen, and I realized that it's a funny sport, it's a nice thing to do, but I need to be professional in this kind of sport because just to kidding, I can kill someone just to have some fun in the water. So I understood that it was better to professionalize what I already knew in practical, uh, in questions of driving, of course, and surfing, because I started to drive bikes with 3 years old, and I
right.
started to surf with 13, 12, 13, 14 years old. So I could read the waves, and I have a background of driving dirt bikes and jet skis, and so it was combining two passions in the same world. For me, it was a dream come true, and when you can do a thing that you love, and you can transform your passion in your work, your job. You can wake up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning that you don't go work, you go to something that you like, that you love. So
Yes,
it's
yeah,
easy. It's easy to go in a 80-foot wave. It's easy to go to the water, and there's a bunch of times that I'm there just to do the support for my team, just to do the support for the others, and then a bunch of times I don't earn money, and that in that days just to go and to train with the team.
yes. Well, actually, I was going to talk about that because everybody sees you driving the ski and rescuing the surfers, but what many people don't realize is that you are also a hard charging big wave surfer yourself. Yeah, you like to charge the big waves. Actually,
Yeah,
surfing
I,
them. Yeah.
I love to surf. It's hard for me to choose between surf and driving because it's two big passions. Um, but yeah, last year I started to surf a little bit more because there's a bunch of surfers in Nazare, and there's not so many good drivers in Nazare. And you to do a safe session, surf sessions, of course you need to have a good driver, otherwise he can put you on the wave and you stay by your own, you know. And that's what we don't want there. We want to put the surfer on the wave and then catch him. So if you don't trust in your driver, it's hard to you to push your limits. Of course, if you feel comfortable to surf, you go, but you need to feel comfortable to and ready to don't be rescued. So you need to achieve and to find your limit as a surfer, and then try to surf. And for me, I love to surf. I sometimes I don't have so many good drivers now. Nick Van Roop start to drive last last years, and he's getting amazing driver. And now I start to be comfortable to surf also. So
Yeah.
those last years, I start to go to Nazare, surfing and driving, and suddenly I found myself just driving because people need you, and you don't want to leave the peak without a good rescue driver. So
Yeah, because that's because you're the best, Sergio. I mean, I've spoken to a couple of the big wave guys, and they all say to me, "Hey, we don't mind wiping out when Sergio's there because we know he's going to pick us up."
At least I will try.
Yeah, yeah. So
At
what
least I
actually?
will try to pick him up.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned that you have a background in motor racing and bike racing. Tell us a little bit about your history in motorsport.
Here in Santa Cruz, I live in. I have my grandfather house here since I was born, and I came to here since I was born. And here it was a small neighborhood, just one exit to the main road, so it's really quiet. And for us, as a 30 years ago, there was really less cars than we have now. So, and less people, and so less traffic. And so for me, it was easy to start to grab a bike. My uncle always had some bikes, and sometimes my uncle with my cousin and me, he put us on the front because we were small guys, and he
Yeah.
put us on the front, and he starts to drive, and we continue to drive. We grabbed the steering, and we were so happy just to do this. And with 3-4 years old, of course, you start to earn some experience. Anything that you do a bunch of hours, you start to be good at that sport or at that certain thing. So because I was living in a not living, but it was like my 3 months and weekends, 3 months of vacations and weekends. We were coming here because at that time I was living in Lisbon, and it was really nice to have a place that you can train and you can feel free to drive. So I started to drive every time I could. When I started to surf, at, as I told you, like 12, 13, 14 years old, I started to go to the water every time that I could, and I started to build my back without know, of course, but I started to build my background to the sport I do nowadays and the work I have nowadays. So for
Well,
me, in a bunch of situations, I feel a little bit more comfortable because I trained a lot and because
yes.
of my background.
And the skills from motor racing and bike racing include timing, speed, quick decision making. Those skills now, I'm guessing, they all cross over into your skill set as a jet ski driver. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I say to everyone that wants to drive jet skis, I tell this to everyone: just drive something. Drive a dirt bike, drive a jet ski, drive a car, drive a jeep on the terrain. But when you drive, of course, I advertise people to don't do this in the normal roads, of course, but try to achieve the limits of the car or of the bike or of the jet ski. Try to achieve your own limit and the limits of the machine. And when you combine those two things, if you know really good your limit, and if I know really good the limit of my jet ski, you are a really powerful machine of, in this case, in the case we are talking about rescues, and you stay a better machine of rescue because you know that at a certain point that is the limit of the jet ski, and you can't go close to that limit. If you don't know the limit, you have some kind of afraid or fear or something, and you start to break yourself. That sometimes that's the thing that you know how to do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so thinking about let's do a role play. Yeah, let's imagine. Talk to me about the protocol. You tow me into a 50-foot wave, all right? And then I let go. I drop down the wave. You pull off the back of the wave. And then somebody says on the radio, man, Sergio, man down, man down. What do you do? Talk me through what's going through your mind when you know I've gone down. What do you do?
Of course, I can't say to you that if nothing happens, if you don't go down, I'm not paying attention. Of course, I can't say that. But actually, when you hear in your radio the spotter saying to you, man down, of course, you stay alert. Suddenly, you stay alert because a normal wave, you went into the left, you go to the shoulder, in the shoulder of the wave until seeing him or her. So,
and how long? So, I'm sorry. Yeah. How long do you normally have? All right. How long do you normally have to get in there, pick me up, and get me out before the next wave hits me?
Depends. You never have more than 15, 20 seconds. Never. So you need to work in that window of timing. I can say to you, you have, for example, you have 20 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds between each wave. But sometimes the wave pass already. And if you arrive to the guy, to the surfer, 5 seconds later, you don't have any more 15 seconds. At that time, you only have 10 seconds. Yeah. Understand what I mean? So depends on the situation. I had one situation with Andrew Cotton, and that I saw him, nothing in the radio. I was putting him on the left in between the first and second peak, and the waves were so huge that the first peak and the second peak, they break the waves. They broke both waves. And I was in the middle of the peaks, putting him on the left to go to the second peak. When I saw the second peak was breaking, I tell him, no, let's kick off, because almost for sure he couldn't pass that section. And when you pass to the back of the wave, when we kick out of the wave, he left the rope because sometimes the rope suddenly you push suddenly,
yeah,
and you need to let the rope. Otherwise, you can hurt yourself in your hands and your legs. In your arms. So he left the rope, and I felt the jet ski loose. Something was loose, the jet ski, because it was more free. And I look at back, it was it's him. When I look at back, I look at the wave, I look at him, and I thought myself, I don't have time to go, but I need to go. I need to try at least. And sometimes it's hard choices, because if you feel that you really don't have time to go, it's better don't go and go around. But if you have, for example, 2 jet skis, the second rescue, you can try to force the first time, because you know that if you can't grab him, you have another jet ski on the wave behind, on the same wave but behind. So at that point, I saw him, and I will not have time to grab him. I will try anyway, and I give him the hand. I put him on the sled, and when I full throttle, actually I didn't full throttle. It's a weird thing to do, but you need to have really cold blood to do this. It's a huge wave behind you, and if you full throttle, the impellers start to so fast. It's the same thing of if you start to drive the car in the ice.
Oh, because of all the foam on the water, yeah. So
the car don't start to drive.
There's no grip for the
this
propeller.
This is the same thing. The impellers start to cavitate, and if you give full throttle, you stay in the same place. So when you want to give full throttle to get out of that place, you can't. And it was my choice. I will not do that. I will do slowly and try to get
Bring
out
the
from
gas up
here.
slowly, and then
and
pour it.
to the impeller fill up to the impeller fill up all the tube of water, and then you have propulsion. So I put him on a sled, and the wave broke and hit me and him. To be honest, I felt the jet ski, and you can ask to because he told me the same, Andrew Cotton. We have inside the wave, we have the jet ski by side, parallel to the beach. Right. And at that time, he left he left the sled. He left the sled, and I couldn't. I told him, he was wondering how the wave hit me, and I could get out from the wave. He was wondering. He was like, Sergio, what are you doing here? How you grab the jet ski? And I just told him, at that certain point, if you feel that you still have the control of the jet ski, because I was inside the wave, inside the white water, I was seeing nothing. You
were hanging on to the jet ski inside the wave.
I was grabbing the steering with my arms, with my legs on the jet ski. I grabbed the jet ski and feel the jet ski. It was the first and the only time that I felt the jet ski like a car, spinning like a car, drifting like a car.
Drifting,
when you drift a car, it was completely the same inside the wave. The jet ski, it was to the left, and then to the right, and then to the left again. And I was thinking, I still have more or less the control of the jet ski. I will not leave the jet ski. And suddenly I see again lights. I hope Andrew's still there. I look at Sergio. It's not there. I come fast, of course, because at that point my thought it was on Andrew Cotton to rescue him. I go around, and when I came to behind of the wave, I saw Nick Van Roop rescue Andrew Cotton, and I say, yeah, good, cool. And we go both out, because I don't like to talk in the danger zone. I prefer to go out first and then celebrate and do everything. And when we go out, I saw Andrew Cotton's face. It was like, I couldn't read his face. I didn't know if he was mad with me, if he was with an injury, or if he almost drowned. He was I couldn't read his face. When I arrived nearby him, I asked him, hey, are you okay? What's up? What's up, Cotty? Are you good? Sergio, I'm okay. How you get out from the wave? How you get out from the wave? I was here waiting. I was here. I was here waiting to listen on the radio. Hey, we have a jet ski on the rocks. We have a flip jet ski. Everyone goes to rescue. And suddenly I saw you coming in my direction. How you get? And I told him, hey, actually, I had lucky, of course. But in the end, how I can leave the jet ski if I feel that I still have some control of the jet ski. And I asked him, why you lose the sled? And he told me, Sergio, when I felt the jet ski parallel to the beach, it was completely by side. I thought that we would start to flip, and I left the jet ski to don't roll with the jet ski, and I couldn't do the same, because as I told you, if I feel that I still have even a little bit of control, I will try to grab the jet ski and pass to that situation.
I think you're the only guy who can drive a jet ski underwater.
Actually, I was not the first guy in doing that thing, but to be honest, I never saw anyone doing this. But with 15 white water, the wave probably it was like 15 meters, probably more. I don't know. It was really big. It was huge. and to you to have a white water with 10 meters or even 8, or it's a big question. It's a big deal.
Absolutely,
Sometimes
yeah.
happens the same. Sometimes happens the same, but more near to the shore break, where you can take more risk because you are more close to the shore break. At that day, something happened to me for sure, but it is for sure. My jet ski ended up in the rocks, that for sure, and for me it was probably one of the most gnarliest things, but thanks God.
All good in the end.
And
So let me
yeah,
ask
all good in
let
the
me
end.
ask you a question. Probably you've been asked this question many times because it's a question everybody wants to know the answer to. Is when you go out on days like that, 50-foot, 80-foot waves, how do you control the fear factor? There must be a fear factor, yeah. You're not fearless, so how do you control it?
Normally, I say that it's nice when you have some fear, because a fear in a certain amount, not too much and not too less. Not too less, you stay junk adrenaline. You don't care about anything. When it's too much, probably the fear can break you to do something that you are able to do. Of course, if you are near by your limits, of course you have afraid. But sometimes you are able to do that if you are close to your limits. So try, and if you have so many fear, it will break you. How you can work with the fear? Um, First time I went into Nazare, it was in a huge day. It was like, God, what I'm doing here? I want to go home. I want to go to the cliff and watch from the cliff. For
Yeah.
crazy people, not for me. And I felt that each time you go to the water, that fear stays a little bit less and a little bit less, and then you start to control some things that in the beginning you were not able or you were not prepared to control. Normally, I say if you can train one thing that in the future you will use in a bad situation, like if you are nearby the rocks or something like that, if you can train that with safety, with the normal conditions, and you still training, when you need to pass to that situation, but seriously, you are more able to handle that, and your fear will stay by your side, not against you. You'll stay more focused, you stay more attention, just because you spend hours and hours doing the same thing. People ask me how you can train for big waves. Of course, we can train. You can't train for big waves in big waves. You can't do that. So you need to train for big waves, in the small waves, in medium waves. Train the rescues. Train how to put on the wave. Train one really important thing that people forget a lot. Train how to be rescued. I say a bunch of times to my surfers, hey guys, if you don't know how to be rescued, you can't stay there because of you, not because of me. I was there to grab you, and you take so long to grab the jet ski, to grab the sled, that I need to go away. And if you have the proper procedures, meanwhile you take 10 seconds to grab the sled in the jet ski, probably will take 3 or 4 seconds. And there's a bunch of times that 2-3 seconds make the difference. There's a lot of times that you don't have 3 seconds.
Yes.
And in my point of view, I think it's the best way to control your fear and to work with the fear. It's spend hours doing that. And actually, in Nazare, first times I started to train with Garrett McNamara. He told me a bunch of times, go between the rocks. First times I was not comfortable to do that, and the waves were small. It was not breaking waves against the rocks. but I had some fear, that kind of fear that blocked me, and I didn't want to go. And he starts to scream with me, go, Sergio, go between the rocks, go between the rocks. Okay, I need to go. And first time I was afraid, second time I was more or less, third time nowadays I'm comfortable to pass through there. And even in the days that I thought that it was impossible to pass through there, in the huge days, nowadays I can pass there. What means, what this means? People say to me a bunch of times, Sergio, why you take that risk? You don't need to pass through there in the huge day. And my answer is, hey, you say that because you never end up there. I
Right.
hope you never end up there. But in the day you end up nearby the rocks, you will pray for me for all the hours I passed through here and all the times, all the hours. I like to in the huge day, I like to be in 2 meters from the rock.
Yeah. So what you're saying
It's
is
gnarly.
the first time you have to go and rescue somebody near the rocks, you don't want it to be your first time as a driver going
As
there.
a driver,
You want to have
exactly.
been there many times before, even if it's smaller, just so that
Yeah,
you have the
to get
experience of
used
being
to.
there. You're used to it. Yeah.
To get used to.
Yeah.
And this for me it's the main difference when you train something hard pass through when you can train that thing with conditions, with safety conditions, just train, because someday probably we'll need to pass through the same situation, but not with the time you want, not the timings. If there's no waves, if there's no surfers, I have my timings. If it's huge and I have a surfer there to catch, I have a few time to go there. Just uh,
Yeah.
a few time to
Just a
go.
short
So
time to get in, get
short
in,
time.
get out.
So you start to work better with timings. You start to work better with your fear. You start to work better in the place that you don't, where the place where you are not comfortable to be.
Yeah. And yeah, you always talk about pushing yourself to the limit and pushing the machine to the limit. So yeah. So what about?
This is the case.
I was going to ask you about your own training. I mean, to do what you do you what is your training regime? Do you do physical training? Do you have a strict diet, breathing training, meditation? What do you focus on? What do you do? Or just drink beer?
Also, sometimes you need to. Now, to be honest, each time less beers, less alcohol, less things that don't help you to do the things you like properly. But also, I have the normally I say that it's not good for you, for your even for your head, to stop to do suddenly stop to do one thing that you like to do, even if it's not so good for your health, for your sport, but at least if it's good for your mind, of course, in my opinion, you can continue to do it. To answer more what you asked me, my habits. Uh, Unfortunately, I'm not the guy that wake up every morning, go to the gym, and then have the menu, the diet menu. I'm not that guy. As I told you before, I'm the
Right.
kind of guy. I have diets. I eat well, but sometimes I want to eat that cake full of sugar. I want to eat that picanha,
Yeah.
with French fries. So I think when you do everything and put in the balance and it's balance, I think that there's no problems to do some things that you like to do even if it's not good. But of course, I need to train apnea, for example. In this case, in this case, we don't have tools to train apnea now. They are
Apnea,
closed in
breath holding, yeah, apnea.
yeah, marathon apnea. If I don't have a pool in my home, I don't have a pool around because they are closed in pandemic situation. And I train a lot of apnea in my home. I have a personal number that my mythical number. And each time I see you can get your own exercises. And one of the things that I start to do to train my apnea, my breath holding, it's of course I don't take the limit, because when you train something dangerous, don't push the limit. Just train the normal thing. If your limit is 3 minutes, don't do 2 minutes and a half. Don't do 2 minutes. Do 1 minute, 1 minute and a half, just to maintain the train, not to push your limits, because when you are alone training something dangerous, you can stay there. So I get this train for me. Each time I see my number, I do half a minute, between half a minute or minute apnea. But when I say this, doesn't mind if I'm running, if I'm driving, if I'm sitting in my sofa, doesn't matter. And this is my challenge in this specific exercise. This is my challenge, to understand how you work, how your body work in the same thing, but in different situations. Because if I do apnea in my sofa, it's completely different that I do apnea when I'm running.
Yes.
We don't have the same timing, so you need to train all the things. So in this case, also in pandemic situations, I think we need to create new habits, take our habits that we have normally. I'm not that kind of guy, as I told you before, to do that specific, like a schedule to do, but I try to do everything that I need to train. Driving dirt bikes, I love driving dirt bikes. Sometimes just to go to check the waves. Meanwhile, I drive car. I go in the dirt bike to train a little bit, to warm up my arms, and So there's a bunch of things that you can still doing, even if you don't have like a schedule. Your diet, your I think it's very important to also to you take care of your body, as you told me you like doing yoga. Now it's amazing how the things can transform. I've been followed by PhysioClam, the guys who work in the body, and it's amazing. I was with an injury here last week, and the guy came to my home. So you still can have your habits even in this pandemic situation, even if, like I told you, even if you don't have your schedule and do all the time at the same hour.
Yeah,
I still can do everything, even
everything you need to.
Schedule.
I saw an Instagram photo of you on your feed recently, sitting in an ice lake in Finland or somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that part of cold water training or breathing training? What was that all about?
Yes, it was part of the cold water breath training. Yes, we went into Finland to the premiere of Joana Andrade movie, Big versus Small. It's an amazing video, amazing movie. Right. They made with Joana, and we were there to the premiere of the movie. But because one of the ladies, she's a record holder for underwater breathing, something like this. I'm not sure. We talked with her because we went into Finland to see if it was possible to do a course, and she told us, yes, let's do it. Unfortunately, the conditions were not the best, because you need to. She do like a big pool in the ice. Imagine a lake, but with ice.
They cut out a section.
They cut the small pool. They do a small pool, and like 20, 30, depends of your level. She do another hole far away, 20, 30, 50 meters. She pass a rope between two holes, and you need to go in your apnea underwater behind the hole until the other hole. You have the rope to guide you. And she told me, because was not so cold, the ice was not so thick, was thin, so it was dangerous because when you push the rope, the rope can melt the ice,
Yeah.
and suddenly can lose the rope, and you get lost under the water with ice on your top. You can't breathe.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that sounds scary to me, man. It's under under
yeah.
ice blocks of water going from one hole to another. I've seen Wim Hof doing it. You know Wim Hof. I've seen Wim Hof
Yeah.
doing that. I've been getting into breathing, so I've been combining the Headspace app and Wim Hof breathing. And Wim Hof is
Yeah.
it's cold exposure and
Yeah.
special breathing technique and the mental meditation side all combined
Yeah.
to try and produce the state of mind that you're talking about for peak
Yeah.
performance in big waves or whatever you're going to do. But I have another question. So somebody like that woman, not necessarily her, but somebody like that woman who can hold her breath for, let's say, 8 minutes, right, in a static pool or on her sofa. If you put her under a 50-foot wave in a washing machine, how long do you think she could hold her breath? Does it cross over?
Depend on her mind.
Right.
Depend on her mind. Uh, as we talked before, when you are in the bad situation that you are used to, you will be way more relaxed. And your apnea, your everything. In this case, that you need apnea, you need to be relaxed. You need your heart to don't beat like 200 times. Need to
Yes.
be relaxed. Of course, if you, as we talked before, if you train for that, you will be able to be more relaxed at that position. Of course, if we grab the lady today and put her on there, she's the
Under a
Guinness
50-foot wave.
under
Yeah.
a 50-foot wave. She's the Guinness record, and probably I will say in the terms of example, not because being me or her, but probably I could hang on more than her because
Because you're used
for
to it.
her
Yeah.
it was the first time. I'm telling this to you. I'm a humble guy. I'm telling this to you just in terms of example, because probably she could hang on and hold the breath, because also to be a record holder, you need to have your mind in the place, and she's the record holder for cold waters, so she's get used to put her mind
Yeah.
calm,
And you said
so
to me before, like the hold down, the apnea is up here, isn't it?
it's what I was saying.
It's in the head.
It's what I was to say. Yeah, but to be honest, there's a lot of people that probably have a big apnea, and they if they are face to face to 50-foot waves, they will scared, and probably they couldn't hang on 30 seconds
Well,
with 8 minutes all this.
let me move it on to when you had to use these skills, because I was doing some research and I read about when you nearly drowned in 2017 when you were riding with is it Fabiano Tiso?
Yeah.
What was that story? You said you nearly
that
drowned. What happened?
that that was a little bit different, because there's different things that can happen to you falling down, you knock out inside a wave. It can be like a knock,
Yeah.
if something
Get
kicks
knocked
you or
out.
knock you,
Yeah.
knocked out. If you don't have any more breath, if you have fear because you are nearby the rock, so there's some things that you can drown, not only because you don't have apnea to hang on the wave, and in this case it was not my apnea. Um, I've it was a similar thing to Andrew Cotton, almost the same thing, but in the end when I always the same thing. I grab him, sled, the wave catches. We were inside the wave. I get out from the wave. I look at back. He was there in the sled. I was so happy. And suddenly the jet ski turned to the left suddenly. I don't know what happened. I didn't turn the steering. I think it because the whole of the jet ski, it's too much directional. And sometimes if you catch a cross bump, the jet ski can
it just
turn
jumped
suddenly.
off the hull.
Yeah, I think it was what happened because I didn't turn the steering. And suddenly we flipped the jet ski. When I flipped the jet ski the first time, I took the jet ski 4 times, knocked me 4 times inside the wave.
Right.
The first time he knocked me. First time it was in my head, arm and leg. First time he knocked me in 3 like this, 3
head
by my side in head, arm, and leg.
Yeah.
The second straight into my chest. And when he hit me in my chest, I felt myself knocking down, going down.
Passing out?
Yeah, almost passing out. And at that time, I pulled my vest because normally I don't pull the vest. Or if I'm a little bit worried what can happen, or just to train. Sometimes I pull to train. But it was the first time I really wanted to pull because I needed. I felt that if I knock down without air, I roll. I can roll with the wave and spend more time under the water. I pulled the vest. I come up. When I pulled the vest, I took 2 more times the jet ski in my leg, in my foot. When I come up, I saw everything white, probably because the knock in my head. Yeah, because of that, I don't know. But when I come up, I saw all white. Everything was white. Wow. What happened? What is this? What happened? And because the last wave were catching the white water, the wave was coming white also. So
right.
I couldn't see the wave. In this situation, I forget to take out, to disinflate the
to deflate.
To deflate, sorry.
Yeah.
To deflate the vest, I forgot completely. And when I tried to dive, I came like straight up again because I was full of air. When I start to dive, I come up, I roll with I'm telling about like a wave with 6-7 meters around that, probably more. I don't know.
Hitting you.
And I roll with the lip and went into the water again. Was hard, but yeah, it was one of the worst situations I have there. And you to understand, you cannot knock out, not only because you can't hold your breath, but because a bunch of things that can happen.
I have a question, because my mates and I were watching, I don't know, maybe with the Nazare tow, and he asked me a question: why don't a lot of the big wave surfers wear helmets? They rarely wear helmets. Is there a reason? Do they get ripped off because of the forces of the wave?
I think the main reason,
because they're also good looking, they want to. But for the camera, they want to, like, you know.
My answer is more or less in a kind of joke, of course. I think it's a kind of a style.
Yeah.
You don't feel with style when you with the helmet.
I got you.
No.
Right.
To be honest, to be honest and more serious now, I think I have the opinion that everyone should use it. I don't use it. I'm against my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't use because normally I used already, and when I use the helmet, it's all a question of training and spend hours with the helmet, like everything we do in our lives. But the time I enter in the water with the helmet, I was a little bit confused. You can't hear your surfer, or you hear less the surfer, the waves. You hear less things, that you are used to hear. The wave, the engine of the jet ski, the surfer, and I'm talking as a driver. As a
Right.
driver, I think at least all the drivers should use, because suddenly, as I took my jet ski, I took the jet ski in my head already, so
Yes.
I'm against what I'm
Yeah, yeah.
talking about. But
Yeah.
I don't feel so focused, so in my natural environment, you know.
So you
When
lose some of your senses and your
I
awareness.
think so. I
Yeah.
think so. But this is not an excuse, because if you don't feel comfortable, train for that.
Right.
If you want thing that it's nice to you, or it's better to your safe, or something like that, it's really nice to you, just train and use it. So I'm telling this about you can't hear, you do, at least me, I don't stay so focused, but this is not an excuse, because you can train and start to use
But
more often
you
to
know, it was the
get.
same situation in pro cycling, if you remember. Nobody ever wore a helmet in pro cycling, and
Exactly.
it took a couple of deaths from head injury before the governing body said every rider must wear a helmet. And now
That's right.
you would never dream of riding a race on a bike without a helmet.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
you know, it's just
And now it's the opposite. If you see, uh, 20 years ago, if someone was laughing about, hey, look at that guy with the helmet, so ugly. Nowadays, it's the
it's
opposite.
the opposite. Yeah.
It's so ugly to see someone without a helmet. It's so uncomfortable to see someone doing a sport like cycling without a helmet. That make all the sense. And
Yeah.
even you have snowboard, skateboarding. You have a bunch
Yeah. It just
everything.
makes sense, doesn't it? You know. So
I think surf, it's a sport. Sometimes it's forward in time, but sometimes it's
well, you
way of
know,
the past.
I mean, I haven't done it, but you've been under 50-foot, 30-foot waves, and even I was thinking, even the force of the wave itself would cause head trauma. If the force of the wave hit you at the wrong place at the wrong time, even the weight and the force of the wave could damage your head. Yeah, because it's the water's so heavy.
If you mean the lip, the lip,
Yeah.
the lip can kill
Well, the
you,
lip. Yeah, yeah. But
kill, not
yeah,
not injury. If the lip hits you, probably
it would
you
kill
get
you.
or you don't stay in the. To you to understand what can happen with the lip, Andrew Cotton had an accident, and
Well
he didn't,
documented. Yeah, I
and
catapult.
the lip didn't hit him. The lip uh, fall down like 1 or 2 meters behind him
Behind him and shot him out. Yeah,
and shut him up.
yeah.
Imagine if the lip hits him. I think, if I'm not wrong, 1 square meter, it's 1 ton
Right, 1 square meter,
power.
1 ton. That's pretty
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
So
Okay. Well,
imagine a leap with 10 meters.
yeah, I don't want to imagine. Thank you. So, Sergio, let's talk. Let's go away from the heavy stuff and talk something a bit more light. Light. Do you like drinking Guinness?
Drinking Guinness
Guinness. You know
beer,
Guinness.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beer, yes, yes.
Yeah. I tell you why, because I know that you towed Rodrigo
Yeah,
Kosha, into
yeah,
the biggest wave ever written in the Guinness Book of Records, 80 feet. Um, Absolute madness. Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah.
when you went out that day, did either of you ever think about we could ride the biggest wave ever today, or did it not cross your mind?
Uh, at that time, we didn't realize that could be the new world record.
So talk me through that wave then. How
Yeah,
that set, that wave,
yeah.
how did it come about?
yeah, at that day, it's funny because at that day we took two records.
Right.
Probably you don't know. In the morning, I tow seven Brazilians with a soup, and they surfed the biggest wave ever surfed in the soup.
In the soup.
In the soup, it was Lucas Chumbo, Pedro Calado, Kalani Latanzi, Pato Teixeira, seven guys. And
At the same time? At the same time?
Seven guys in the same surfboard.
Oh, on the same surfboard?
In the soup.
Seven
guys in the soup. And they surfed like almost 10 meters, something like that. It was,
Those Brazilians doing it. The Brazilian Storm are breaking every record, aren't they?
Yeah, the same day, two records for Brazilians.
Yeah.
But this is just to tell you about one incredible day that we have in the water. That starts with a record, and we start with that. So in those guys to the record, and they end up in the beach as the plan. They end up in the beach. So the plan was okay. Everything is done. I start to surf with Rodrigo Coxa, and one thing that I always do to people who surf with me, I ask them what you want, what you are comfortable to do. You want deep, you want left, you want right, you want barrel, you want fat waves, small, big, shoulder. What do you want to do? First guy, it was Antonio Silva, the Portuguese Antonio Silva. He told me, Sergio, I don't surf like last 2 months before I didn't surf big waves, so let's start with smaller and then put it higher and bigger. And okay, I start to surf with him. Okay, it's done. Next one, Coxa, what do you want to do? Coxa, Sergio, I want the big one. And I asked him, the biggest of the day or the biggest of the season? And he told me, Sergio, I want the Big Mama. And the Big Mama, it's a kind of a legend that the wave breaks really, 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 really outside. And when someone told you that he wants to surf the big money, it means that he wants to surf the biggest one, you know. So, okay, when he told me that, I told him, Rodrigo, you realize that you have probably you have to wait a long time to wait for that wave. No worries, I have time, so let's wait. And to be honest, he surfed one wave that day, one wave only, the wave of the record. He didn't surf anymore. No, he surfed one wave, and he took 1.5 hours to surf that wave.
Yeah, just waiting.
Yes.
But you chose the wave.
Each time it's what I would say. Each time I see a set coming, hey, Coach, stand up, let's go. And when I cross the wave, not this one, let's go, same point, let's relax in the same point, let's waiting. Second set, third set's coming, let's go, stand up. Not this one, let's wait a little bit more, and suddenly comes a huge set coming with a lot of waves, and I told him, hey, let's go. And I've done the sign for the second wave. Coach, second wave. When we crossed the first wave, I saw the second, and I saw the small top of the third wave.
Yeah.
And I start to prepare to put him on the second wave, and that stays in my mind. If I could see the wave, probably it's bigger. If I saw the wave, probably it's bigger. And that gets stuck in my mind. And when I start to prepare to towing for the wave, was coming already, start to come in the same, wants to catch the wave, Pato and Rafael Tapia. And I thought, probably this is a message to don't catch this wave. And I told to Coach, no, first one. And he started to scream with me, no, this one, the second one, this. I told him, no, first one, let's go.
Yeah.
You don't have any choice.
No, I'm driving.
I'm driving. If you want, leave the rope and stay there. But now, actually, he was when we crossed the second wave. I look at back, and he was like looking back to the wave with his sad face, like, "Oh, I wanted that wave. I wanted that wave." When he looked at forward and saw the third wave, he shut up and he didn't tell nothing anymore. So like, and I prepared the wave, and not because I had time to prepare the wave. I put ourselves in the base of the wave. So this is the wave. I put on the base of the wave and let the wave catch us.
Yes.
I just told Kosha, hold on the rope, because I was almost too slow that he could fall down to the water. So just hang on the rope, come slowly, the wave catches. When the wave catches, I look at back, and Jan, you asked me about if we had the perspective of the new world record, and I didn't have that perspective that we were surfing the new world record. But one thing that I can guarantee to you, I never saw nothing so huge behind me.
Because you went over the back of the wave, and you must have looked down it, and it must have looked incredibly big.
I saw normally you don't put the surfer in the base of the wave.
Right.
You come from behind because it's so many people. You need to put your position on the peak, you know.
Yes.
So sometimes this is a little bit strategic. Sometimes you need to go around or need to go to that place to earn some position, you know. At that day, I told to Kosha, to be honest, I didn't care about priorities, because after you wait 1.5 hours for a wave, there's no
priority.
No priority. You have all the priority because everyone surfed already a bunch of waves, and you still are waiting for a wave, so you have the priority. So at that time, I put that priority in my mind, and I don't care if I go in the second or in the third. Because I have that time and I have that position in the peak, I didn't care, and I start to prepare the wave from the base of the wave. So this is to tell you, I saw the wave from the base. Look at back to the top of the wave. It was so huge, because you can't be on the lip when to see the high, how high
to see how high it is.
How high it is.
You can see it better from the base.
You need to be here, and you don't want to be here to see how high, because if you fall down, if you come with the lip, you don't want to be here. So
no.
I also saw the wave from the top, because we surf a little bit of the wave. I surfed a little bit of the wave.
Yeah.
It's a procedure that I do normally when I put the surfer on the wave. I like to see him. Because if he fall down, we are talking about sometimes 1, 2, 3 seconds. But if you can cut that second or 2 seconds, it's better to you for the surfer. And sometimes the communication of the radio tell me he fall down. If I don't understand, or if it takes 4 5 seconds to do the communication, you know, it's always faster if I see with my eyes. So if I can follow him when I can, of course, I follow him. The wave is breaking. Okay, I need to kick off. I kick off, come back off the wave, and wait for him to get out, or if he fall down, to catch him.
Yeah. So on that, you pulled him into it, and then you went around, and he made the wave, didn't he? He made it, and he came out on the shoulder. You went to get him. What was his reaction?
Yeah, I was telling you, there's a nice reaction before. When I saw the wave, it's so huge. I asked him. There's one thing that I never ask to my surfers. If you want the huge one, the big one, I will put you in the big one. I don't care if it's the biggest, and I will not ask you. It's too big. You want to go? This one was so huge. I asked him, Kosha, it's huge. you really want to go? He'll go with his mad face, like fear and adrenaline and with attitude. He wanted to go. And hey, really, you want to go? He'll go, Sergio, go. And I left him on the wave, and I do all the procedures, and he made all the wave. The wave in the end, it was a small closeout. The wave, white water catch him. When I saw him, I came straight to him, and he started to. I was far away. He was with his arms like, yay!
Are you claiming the wave?
Claiming the wave, you. I was like 15, 20 meters screaming to him, Kosha, rescue! Kosha, rescue! Because he never celebrated before. We are in the
impact zone.
In the impact zone, in the worst zone they want to be, or where the waves will break. So
you wanted to get him out, and he wanted to have a party.
I think he didn't think about where he was, because it's like I'm telling you, it's a procedure that we have, and he was not like he's not like that. At that time, because of the wave, he transformed. He started to claim the wave. He was so happy that and now serious. When I always say to the surfers, you can't stay there. I already said you can't stay there because of you, not because of me. I was there to rescue. It takes a bunch of time to grab the sled, so it's your fault to be there. And it's one thing that if he made the wave, if it's everything okay, if you can do the rescue with time, proper rescue, choose the wave out soon as possible, because if it's sooner, the wave it's not breaking. If it's later, the wave is breaking, the wave behind. So all these procedures, you need to take care and follow them all the time, you know. And at that time, Kosha was like, so happy, rescue, put him on the sled, and he's continuing on the sled. Sergio, you put me on the wave of my life, you, Kosha, only celebrate outside.
Yeah.
And he said, he always said in interviews, and
yeah.
Well,
we're gonna
put me in the wave of my life, and he was mad with me. Of course, I was not mad with him, of course, but I was so focused in my job, in my work. When I work even in safety or in Nazare or in small contests, I don't care if you are my friend. I don't care if you are the best one or the worst one. I care about the best way to do a proper job, the best way how I can be a good driver. To in the end of the day, you arrive at home happy, I go home happy, everyone is safe, you know, and that is my concern. It's why sometimes and that specific situation, I scream with him, like saying, like, hey, Kosha, rescue. And it was a kind of a mad, but I was not mad with him. I was probably more happy than him, but I couldn't show that at that time, because if I start to be happy, he starts to be happy suddenly, celebrate and commemoration, and the waves can catch us, flip the jet ski, and the wave, imagine, of course not, but imagine in the wave you break the record and you die in the rescue. So
yeah. Not what you want. We're going to try and get Kosher on the Big Wave Surfing podcast in the next few weeks, so maybe he can give us his version of
it. He will give the version.
Yeah. So Sergio, let me ask you another question. Give me some stories about maybe one of the gnarliest rescues you've had to make. Can you think of?
Of course, the gnarliest rescue. It means that I took someone from the water. I grabbed him, put him on the sled, and I took him for a safer place. And I have a story I tell you with Andrew Cotton. Couldn't hold on the sled, but in the end, all good. With Fabian Tissot, the same one. But of course, one of the most gnarliest situations I passed through in Nazare. Also because it's a friend of mine. It was with Alex Butalho in the contest, and because it's a friend of mine. He's a big guy. He's trained well. He's big body, and it's like a bull. And to take him from the water, when this happened, I hear in the radio, jet ski flip. I run to the shore break. When I run to the shore break, I saw him, and I start to call him, because sometimes you don't have vision 360, So if the jet ski comes behind you, if I can call you to prepare how to be rescued, it's better for everyone. And I start to call him, Alex. Of course, because of engine noise, waves noise, sometimes it's possible surfer can't hear me. So I start to call him, Alex. When I grab his hand and put him on the sled, at the precise moment I left his head, I look at his face, and I saw it was far away. And I said to myself, no, I already left him, because you grab the hand and you need to leave the hand for the guy grab the sled. You give the hand to rescue, and then you just put him nearby the sled, and then you leave the hand. When I leave him, and I thought that he was grabbing the sled, he was with his eyes really far away.
He was unconscious then, yeah?
He was already not 100% unconscious, because he started really slow, but he tried to grab the sled like this speed, really slowly. And anyone, even if you are not in a bad position, you are really fast to be rescued.
This was the first time you went for him, was it?
The first time I arrived nearby him, and I thought to jump from the jet ski. I thought 3 times to jump the jet ski, because the first 3 times someone arrived nearby him, it was me. And the first time I did jump, I thought, next time probably when I achieve him, someone will be there with him, so we can work better. And the second time I went there, no one again. I could try to grab him. He was so heavy that I couldn't grab him. And I was so unhappy with me and all this. And I tried the first time. The first time I already have a jet ski nearby me, but 2 guys in 2 jet skis, it's hard to handle,
Yes.
We can probably 2 jet skis, if they knock each other with him in the middle, and the worst, So I tried the first time, and I could grab him. Each time I was there and I couldn't grab him to the sled. At least one thing that I learned in the lifeguard course is to leave the way breathe, the air,
the mouth,
the airways,
nose, the airways, yeah.
The airways, you need to put it out of the water, because even if he's inconscient, if you put your airways out of the water, even the residual air, I don't know if you can say like this, residual air.
Yeah, the residual air
air
is going to go into the system, because the airways are up, out of the water, yeah.
If 1% of residual air, enter into your mouth, into your nose, can be the difference of you live or die, or between the difference you have injuries for lifetime or not. And it was hard. It was hard for me. Tried 3 times and couldn't grab him. At the 4th time I was there, when I was straight to him, I saw a jet ski coming, flipping, and I thought, good, at least someone jumped into the water to grab him. I didn't jump. You have, as we talked before, you have few seconds to decide, and you never know if you decide well or not. at that moment. Later, you can see the movies, you can realize what you've done, and try to understand if you can do better or not. But at that time, I tried to pick him up. I couldn't pick him up. When I saw someone jump into the water, I thought, now, amazing. Now we can rescue Alex. And what happened to Alemão Marzias? It was the guy who jumped from the jet ski to grab him. What happened to him? It was my concern. I had the concern and afraid to jump to the water, and when the first wave hit me, lose him.
Right.
And if I lose him, if I'm swimming to catch him, I will take several times. I will take long time to do 5 meters.
Yeah, and also they then got another man in the water.
And now, I'm telling the 3 times I was there, I didn't jump because I was afraid to lose him.
Yes.
And if you lose, in this case, if you lose the surfer, what do? You can do nothing.
No.
And that was my concern. And that's what happened to Alemão. I'm glad I was there with them, because Alemão jumped into the water. Alemão grabbed him, Alex. On the first wave, he lost Alex Botelho. And he was like 5 meters one side, Alemão for the other side. And I was like, now I need to grab first Alemão to try to help me to grab Alex. I grab Alemão and leave in nearby Alex. The second time I start to each time I was there, of course, you try a new approach. Alemão jumped into the water.
Yeah, but in the end, you guys got him out of the water, and he.
Yeah, but in the end, this is also to say to you, when you are rescue one guy, you can't forget your environment, and this is really important. And why I'm telling this to you, because suddenly I found myself driving in shore break with a bunch of people. The guys were coming to the shore break to help, lifeguards, and I found myself in the middle of guys driving a jet ski in the worst zone to drive a jet ski. And I thought, hey, if I flip a jet ski here, probably I can hit 1 or 2 guys and kill them with the jet ski. So meanwhile, you have one guy in the bad position. You can stay with 2 or 3 guys with an injury and with taking some cares. So at that time, I took my jet ski to the sand on the controlled way, sand, and of course he ended up in the beach. Everything was good. Nuno Violino, the Portuguese guy who played violin on the waves, he was the guy who took Alex from the shore break. So this is also to say that you can't forget your environment. You can't forget to work as a team. Even at that time, it was for Nazare Challenge. So we are talking about one safety team. And when you have 5 teams in the normal day, in the huge day, 5 teams working, for me, it's the same. If someone needs another team to help to the rescue, let's go.
You help each other. Yeah.
This was nice to understand how we can work together, even because all the drivers were from the different teams, and at that case we were working all together. And it's nice to understand that we can work together, even if we normally work in different teams.
Post-analysis of that situation, did anything come out of it with regard to safety protocol or the way you operate after reviewing what happened to Alex? You
First
mentioned
thing that
you couldn't get him up. You couldn't pull him up. He's a big guy.
First thing that I can say to you, because it's one thing that we'll have all your life, small guys and big guys.
Yeah.
And it's easier for a big guy to take a small guy. It's hard for a small guy to take a big guy. So you can't be like, okay, let's wait for be rescued for big guys. You can't do that. So you need to improve. If you catch some guy like me, a smaller guy, to finish to complete the rescue, and even if you are a smaller guy, you can apply something for wetsuits, for life jackets, for life vests, anything to help in this case. And to be honest, I think if every surfer use a handle on the back.
All right. Yeah.
A handle on the back. If in this specific case of Alex, if he had a handle in the back, I could take him.
You could have grabbed the handle and either dragged him to the beach or pulled him up.
Drag him to the beach. Yeah.
But exactly. you had to grip him, and you had nothing to grip him with. Yeah.
I tried to grab him several times, and he was slippery. He's big guy. He was slippery, and I couldn't grab him. And you can imagine, he's a huge friend of mine. But even if it's not my friend, you can imagine leave one guy there. Actually, each time I put his head out of the water, when the wave comes, I need to leave him there and throttle to run away from there, to come later and try to grab him again. And it's not easy to your head to think about, because in the end you left the guy there. Right. You return, but you end left the guy there. But you need to realize, and it was one thing that I asked to Almon Marzias. You felt that it was your best option to jump, and I'm telling this now, cold, thinking about, I'm glad that he made that to jump. But in the end, I think it was not the best thing to do, because in the end, if I'm not there to pick him up, Almão, and put him nearby nearby Alex, you don't have in 15 seconds between each wave. You don't have time to swim 5 meters.
No, so he wouldn't have got back to him, would he?
I have time to drive 20 meters, 30 meters between each wave. So for me, what I was thinking about that precise moment, how I can be the best rescue machine.
Yes.
Because me and the jet ski is one rescue machine. I can be a rescue machine alone. Also, the jet ski can do nothing alone. I can do something alone. But I will be the best rescue machine if I jump the jet ski and stay there with him. Another thing, you need to put the airway out of the water.
Yes.
If I'm sitting in the jet ski, I can easily grab his head
and flip him over.
Flip him over.
Yeah.
How I can do that swimming?
Very difficult.
Just to leave his head out of the water, I need to be Sergio. I need to be inside of the water. Just my arm stay straight, and leave his head out of the water. So sometimes you need to go against your beginnings, because I don't leave anyone there.
Yeah, you're not go against your natural instincts and do what.
I need to be against my natural instincts, like you said, and go around. And understand that I'm a better machine with a jet ski.
Yes.
At that specific, I'm talking about this specific rescue. Of course, every rescue, every wave, every situation, it's a different situation that you need to evaluate and at that moment.
Well, he's a good friend of yours. So the most important thing is just give us a quick update. I believe he's doing quite well. Yeah, is he?
Yes, I talked with him last week, and he lives in Algarve, south of Portugal, and he was doing his small farm,
right,
putting his vegetables, and doing some chicken houses. I don't know how to say that in English.
Yeah, chicken houses. Yeah,
chicken house. So he's good. He's well. I think we laughed about that. I think this kind of work, farm construction, small constructions. I think it's the best gymnasium he can get.
Yes.
Because he can stay focused on one thing that it's not what I mean is when you train a lot, sometimes you go back and why I'm training because I had this accident and sometimes it's not good to return back for bad moments. Of course, you need to return back to realize what you can do better. But if you can run away from those moments, you stay happier, at least at that moment.
It's a long road of recovery, isn't it? It's not something you come back from quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Sergio, I always ask my guests a question. Do you have like 2 or 3 good habits, good daily habits that enable you to maintain high performance on a daily basis? 2 or 3 good daily habits.
One good thing that I really like, it's not about training, but also about your well-being. It's drinking a lot of water.
Right.
I do the apnea training as I told you.
Yes.
Not only in the water. I get that exercise to have an excuse to do the exercise. You know, you understand what I mean.
Yes.
So there's some habits that and now in this pandemic situation, you still need to have them. So I try to drive my dirt bike every time I can. This is not normally. Also, people ask me, you need to have the same training of the surfers, and I say yes because normally the surfer take more risk. The surfer take more risk when he's surfing. When he's surfing, he take more risk than me. At the precision moment that he's surfing, I'm on the back of the wave. Of course, if the engine shut up, I stay in the bad position like him. But at least I have some engine that I can throttle and
escape,
and run away from the wave. Yeah. And when you surf, you only have your skills and your board to run away from the wave. So, but in the end of the day, the surfer surfed 5 waves, for example, surfed 5 waves. He went into 5 waves in the shore break. If I drive 10 guys 5 times in the shore break, in the end of the day, I spend 50 times in the shore break, and each surfer spends 5 times in the shore break.
Right.
You know. So in the end of the day, I spend more. I take more risk of each surfer. You know.
And if things go wrong, you're in the same size waves as they are.
And of course, and because you don't have channel, it's way easier to drive with a channel. When you have channel to go out, even if you flip a jet ski, if you swim for the channel, you start to catch the wave more fast, or the white water, or no wave.
Yeah.
And here, if something this happened to you, you need to have skills and train and body and mind to achieve land.
Yeah.
You know, to achieve the beach. So normally I say, if you want to do this sport, even if only to tow a guy to rescue or to be a driver, you need to be prepared as a surfer. And if you are prepared as a surfer, if you have some skills, why not surf sometimes?
Yeah. Okay. So your three tips. One is a diet. One is drink a lot of water. The second one was you keep up your breathing and your apnea training. And the third one was sharpen your reactions and fitness by dirt bikes. Yeah.
In my case, I like to drive dirt bikes or quads. It's what I have also. Of course, if you can drive jet skis, even better.
Yeah.
Jet skis, not everyone have a jet ski, but if you can drive jet skis, even better. You to understand, I took my course in 2013. In 2014, I was in every swell of Nazare. And in the summer, between those years, in the summer, I
Yes.
was training every day, almost every day, with a friend, with Paulo, a friend of mine. We start all this with me, Paul Marques. And there was days without waves, flat, completely flat. And I was telling him, let's train. But there's no waves. We can train rescue. We can train surfing on the rope, because you need to know how to surf, how to be on the rope.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
To know what it feels like. Yeah.
in towing, you need to be. I think it's you need to know how to be a surfer.
Yes.
Just to your chance to don't have any injury, or to be rescued the first time, or even just to catch the best waves. You need to know how to be a surfer, because if you don't know how to drive a surfboard on the rope behind me and the jet ski, if I put him on the wave to the left, probably you are in the wrong side. If you are in the wrong side, you need to cross the wake of the jet ski. Probably you can fall down. And if you are already in the right spot, probably you don't have to cross the jet ski wake, or any other reason that makes you do the wave. You can't do the wave. And sometimes if you don't know how to be a surfer, you can surf less. You don't surf good waves. You can stay in that position, or don't be rescued, because you don't know how to do at that certain point.
So you try to simulate every kind of situation, keep training regardless of conditions.
Yeah, I always say to my surfers, because when it's small, even me, we have the normally you start to don't do all the procedures, because you know how to do that. So you have time. If it's small, you have time. Why I could do the hand if I have time to rescue? Okay, but if you do 100 times, if you do the hand,
it becomes a reflex action. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why you really need to use your hand. You know how to use it the best way, the faster way, and this is all. I think each second counts in each sport we do. Even if you do skateboard or snowboard or whatever you do, I think each second counts to you improve your skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. And my last question then, Sergio, is when we come out of the lockdown, what does 2020 hold for you? What do you got planned?
Actually, because I work I work in the worst scenario of the pandemic situation, in events. Events, it's the last thing to open.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. To be in terms of the work I already have planned, I don't know what will happen, because one already gone. It was in April. It was now. It was the World Championship of jet skis, freestyle of jet skis, and I was doing the safe thing, and they canceled. So I already suffer with this pandemic situation. But I think, like in everything in your life, when you are not comfortable in one thing, or you don't like, or you have one challenge, just to think how to transform a bad thing in a good thing. And this is a thing that I always say. In everything in your life that happened to you, any problem, any bad situation, take something good from that.
Right. Yes.
Take something good from that. If you can take something good from a really bad thing that happened to you, even if it's if someone, your friend, your family died, it's always the worst scenario. It's the death.
I know that happened to you and your family. So I know you do take that attitude. Yeah. From the very worst situation, you try to be positive.
Exactly. If you learn, I try to took something good for that situation.
Yes.
For the people who don't know, who don't see the video, it's the Red Bull video. My sister died in a car accident.
Yes. So sorry.
And no, thank you. No worries. She's better than us. She's in heaven, better than us, watching for us. So I really believe that
yeah.
So and our angels.
You said, yeah, before we started recording today, you said, "Be happy." I always try to be happy, yeah, and yeah, and that's the image that people have of Sergio Cosme is be happy, yeah, and be there for other people and pluck them out of the water when they need plucking out of the water, you know.
Yes, exactly. Now I try always to do my best, even if it's in terms of smiling. Sometimes, of course, our days are not always the same. Sometimes you have problems. Sometimes we have worse days that we stay more down and we don't want to smile. But the others don't have the fault. Don't have fault that you are in the bad day. So they always like to receive. I like to receive smiles, not ugly faces, not bad faces. So if I like to receive smiles and good energy, I need to pass that. And
yeah,
sometimes it's hard. Even, for example, the situation of Alex, situation of my sister. Sometimes how you can take something good from a bad situation, and I think you grow as a human being. You understand better what you are doing here. Sometimes and you stay more cold for some situations that you need to be cold in your life sometimes. And
yeah,
I think you can grow each time you learn something.
yeah. Good. Let's keep going down that road, and please keep staying positive. And if I find myself in Nazare, please take me for a ride on the back of the Yamaha.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And that's one thing that I also want to do this year, because like I told you, we never know if the events are coming, if not, and pandemic situation, it's a bad situation, but as we referred before, we need to take something good from these situations. And I think, at least for me, I thought about some social projects, what we can do. It's funny because there's some workshops, sometimes people or some meetings or some podcasts like we are doing this, that if we are not closed in home, sometimes we are more far away, and we miss these kind of things that we also need to do, these meetings, these workshops, this changing of ideas. And when we have normal life, sometimes people get stuck in their works, and you know, I think we need to take all nice goods from bad situation. And now I'm thinking about what I can do, even if I don't have work to do now because of the events, social projects to get the kids to work, because the sport we do, I think we like a talkers, we have a bunch of things to talk about. We can talk about safety. We can talk about work team. We can talk about friendship. Uh, so I think that there's a lot of things that now we still can do. Even in my case, if I don't have the works that I was prepared to do, let's change the projects
Well,
and.
with Sergio, with your skill set and your profile and who you are and what you do, you could open your own jet ski water safety protocol program. They would fly from all over the world to come to your. I tell you, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
one thing. It's one thing. I don't like to sell here. In Portugal, we have an expression. It's like we sell in Portuguese. Sorry, in Portuguese, vender gato por lebre. It's like sell a cat. You are selling a rabbit, but you deliver a cat. You know what
yeah,
I mean. So let's put each thing in the position, and I think there's space to do a lot of things.
yeah. Well, you're a modest and a humble guy, and
I don't
we all want to
I don't
thank you
I
for
don't
what you
I
do.
don't like. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't like to be the guy who is giving courses just because he has the name or he has the skills.
Yeah,
I have more skills that's a bunch of teachers. But if
yeah,
I'm not legally ready to give lessons, I don't like to do that. I
right.
prefer first of all take the course to be a teacher and learn how to be a teacher because I like to talk with people, but sometimes what you like to talk, it's not the best way to teach. So I prefer to graduate myself in that specific thing and then start to do that. And that's one thing that I also have in my mind. Um, do the course for me to be a teacher, and then I'm able and ready to do that. I don't like to sell
Yeah,
cats meanwhile rabbits.
got you. Okay, so listen, where can people find Sergio on social media? And you got any
So,
links?
yes, I don't have Facebook. I only have Instagram. My Instagram is Sergio Cosmico, like
Ah, okay.
cosmic Sergio,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Cosmico.
Cosmico, yeah, like I'm Cosme, and I love the stars and the universe and the cosmic things. So it's
Yes.
one
Okay,
more
so
time in my
Instagram,
life. It's
Sergio Cosmico,
Sergio
and
Cosmico.
that mainly
Yeah,
Instagram
and
you do, you? Yeah.
and anything that it's connected to Nazare. I have a bunch of things, um, some shots, some videos in Nazare. Um, I think nowadays, if you put Sergio Costa surf in the Google, you can already find some nice stuff. The
Oh,
Red Bull movie, it's amazing. It's amazing how they construct and how they build that story around Nazare, around me and the rescue, and then they made an amazing work.
yes.
And
It's great. I mean, I've seen everything about you when I was Googling you and YouTubing you, so I know more about you than you do now.
probably I'm the worst guy to promote myself.
I'll do it for you, don't worry.
You asked me pictures 5 days before, and I still don't give you.
I still don't have the pictures. No, I'm downloading them from your social media now. Hey, listen, Sergio,
Sorry
we
about that.
talking for, I could keep talking to you for all day, but
Me too. Me
we've been
too.
going for over an hour and a half, so I want to thank you
Okay.
for your time. I really do appreciate you opening your heart to us and telling us all about your experiences and how you gained your skills. So thank you for what you do. Keep doing it, and please come back on our show sometime in the future and let's do it again. Yeah.
It's up to you. Feel free to ask me whatever you want, whatever you need. Now, you need to come to Portugal because you dared me to take you to the peak. So
Yeah, just keep me out of the impact zone, all right?
we passed through there. We
As
passed
long as it's
quickly.
quickly.
We passed quickly.
Yeah.
Without celebrate.
Yeah, without celebrating. We'll celebrate after with a beer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Ian, I want to one thing that each time I like to focus and to, how you say, to put up to, I want to let it grow all the way. People are talking about the rescue and talking about the drivers, and it's one thing it's one thing that makes me happy, not because of me, but because, of course, because of me, but because of all the other drivers who risk their lives in Nazare, and it's incredible to see. I saw a post. Sorry, take a little bit more time, but
Oh, that's
just
good.
just to you to understand. A few days ago, today it's 30, 29. Yesterday it made 2 years that Rodrigo Costa surfed the big wave, surfed the contest, surfed the world record. It was surf now. Sorry, surf now. He received the award, not surf.
All right. Yeah.
When he received the award,
Yes.
and it's amazing how you see. In this case, I don't know who was spoken, but in this case, WSL talking about Rodrigo Costa when in LA, when in the awards they were speaking. This is Rodrigo Costa on the wave, new world record. Yeah. They told the name of every photographer. They told the name of the guy who made the video, the name of the surfer, and the guy who put the surfer on the waves, and then rescue the surfer. They didn't mention my name. This is a team sport. When
Yeah.
a team sport, that you need to talk. The award is for the team, not for the surfer. I ran 8 years co-driving, and it's a team.
Yes, absolutely. It's a team. Yeah.
So and it's amazing for one way. It's amazing to see. For another way, makes me sad to
Yeah.
see that the only guy who say, hey, wait, there's a guy who told me to the wave. It's Rodrigo Costa.
Yeah.
Rodrigo Costa always. He don't surf with me anymore, or in the big days he surf with Pat. Each time he do the post of the record, he mentioned my name each time.
Yes. Yeah.
So if
So he should. Yeah.
if it's even the surfers, they recognize that they need the driver, YWSL and the Guinness brand
Yes.
don't accept as a team. And to understand, Rodrigo Costa has the certificate of
The
Guinness.
Guinness. Yeah. Yeah.
The mayor has the certificate of the Guinness. I think there's another certificate of the Guinness, and I don't have any certificate. I don't do this to receive awards, to receive certificates, but I like to see the sport I do, the work I do. I like to see that
Recognized.
to recognize it.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the only say.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, if it's not Rodrigo Costa and people like you, Jan, that are giving more and more time to show that there's a sport to you to understand, Jan. Now, this is an idea that I have, and for me, it's hard to understand the opposite. Even in paddle days, even in paddle surf, people are breaking the limits. Why? Because they have a jet ski behind them to rescue him.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
How you can surf a paddle day, a huge paddle day in Nazare, if you don't have a jet ski?
No.
So
Yeah.
each time in this sport, big wave sport, even if it's towing, even if it's paddling, they should recognize the driver. That's my opinion, of
I,
course,
I
because
agree
I'm a
with you.
driver. But
Yeah. And
each time I surf, the first thing is that guy told me.
yeah, yeah. It is a team sport, and not everybody realizes that. And that's when I started this podcast. If you read my write-up, I say I want to speak to the big wave riders. I also want to speak to the jet ski drivers, the doctors on the beach,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
spotters
Exactly.
on the cliff, the
Exactly.
trainers, the guys who teach them apnea. All those people are part of this
Yeah.
industry, and
Yeah.
without all those people, it can't. Kosher can't get his world record, and other things can't. It's all, everybody gels together to make it
Yeah.
happen. So I want to talk to
Exactly.
all those people, not just the big wave riders. And but as you
If
say,
you need
yeah,
it,
the riders are the first to give you kudos and
of
recognition,
course.
aren't they? Because they
Of course.
know. I mean,
Of course.
their lives are in your hands. They know that.
Actually, we are in a phase. I don't know how to say this, but we are in the step that you have surfers who care about, you have surfers who don't care about, and they are still. You have surfers in Nazare. It's the surfer. Point. It's the surfer. You still have people like that.
Right.
And I'm the surfer, and I'm the surfer, and I'm the guy. You
Yeah.
still nowadays you still have people like that, and I don't know, because probably those guys never needed to have another team nearby, close by. You know,
Yeah.
the day that they will need another team, probably they start to realize that they need the drivers.
For sure. Yeah. And you'll always be there to pick somebody up. So yeah,
at
well,
least I, at
yeah,
least I will try. At least I will try.
yeah, yeah. And I will get down to see you one day in Nazare. But
Please, please
I-
come.
I'll mostly be watching from the lighthouse. So.
To be honest, it's one of the best places to see.
Mm,
Of course, you feel the adrenaline in the water, but I like, because in the cliff you see the environment, you see the wave with the surfer, you see the jet ski running behind the wave to catch him. When you are in the water, of course, you have a different adrenaline, a different perspective. But sometimes you don't see that, like, it's fun, it's nice to see, it's nice to watch. You are there, you are working, you are doing your best. So sometimes, just to enjoy the view, sometimes it's even better to be in the cliff.
yeah. Hopefully I can do.
but but it's close that we need to go outside.
Yeah.
Even if it's huge day, you can go with me, no worries, because you have the parts south of the rocks
Right.
that can be 30 meters waves, and you are watching the waves breaking like 20, 30, 40 meters nearby you, and you are 100% safe, not
Oh,
90, not
sounds
99. It's 100% safe. So even this, like Nazare, like this, it's amazing, because it gives you an entire arena and of big
it's a
show.
perfect amphitheater, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
I mean, like we started, even to go into that south area, that's how you start to get used to the big waves, just by sitting there and
Yeah,
watching them from 100 meters away. And then
exactly,
straight away, your comfort zone is going to go up because you're that close to them. Then you go a little
exactly,
bit
exactly.
closer and a little bit closer. And I see. There you go.
That's the point to like I told you. That's the point to sometimes you are the guy that was there, because no one trained for that.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right, Sergio. Great. Yeah, we gotta do it again because there's so much to talk about. So
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm happy. I'm keen to do that, and it's an honor to me. Let's thank to you, Jan, one more time to give to put the drivers, to put the rescue team on board,
yeah, absolutely. Well,
and
Sergio, I'm a surfer, right? Not a big wave surfer, but I'm a surfer. But you have like inspired me, motivated me to actually want to drive a ski. To be honest, yeah,
thank you. Amazing.
okay, yeah. I would love to do what you do. you know, because my background is in lifeguarding and rescue all my life,
Really?
you know. So I would love. I think I don't. Of course, I'd like to ride the waves if I was capable. I 30 years ago I probably would have, not now, but I would now. I would still love to drive the ski. And when I look at people like you, and I think you inspire me, I want to do that. I actually want to do it. I want to help
Thank you
people,
so much.
you know. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so
yeah,
much. Those kind of energy, those kind of words, those kind of sentences, this kind of conversations and talkings, that's the thing that make me still going, because surf it's a hard sport, it's a difficult sport. There's a lot of ego, even in the big wave surfing. That's a lot of ego, and sometimes you need to catch people like you, and like you are doing this podcast, to run away a little bit from some mess, some
from the
confusion,
ego, yeah.
from the ego, and talk about, in the end, talk about what we like, what we love,
Yeah.
what it's our passion, and some. I can talk really bad about surf. I give you a bunch of examples. People charging for rescues. I can give you a bunch of examples. But why? If we can talk about good
Ah,
things,
we stay
how to
positive.
learn, yeah. If we need to if we need to talk about anything worse, of course we talk about that open, but that can't be the main way
No.
to do the conversation, and
Mhm.
it's why I'm trying to always being smile. Keep
Yes,
happy.
keep smiling. All right, Sergio, thank you very much,
Thank
and
you one more time.
you stay safe, yeah.
You too. If you need me, let me know.
I will need you, and I'll be coming back to you.
As I go, chasing the line of the rainbow. Lately my life has been slow, smooth and blue as I roll. My boat sails away in the sun. In it there is only one. I remember the times I had fun. Now I'm chasing the line of the rainbow. Why do we have to paint pictures? Pictures that never come true. Why do we have to tell stories? Sometimes the words are too few. Why do we have to paint pictures? My life is a circle of dreams, never before to be seen. It's coming apart at the seams as I'm chasing the line of the rainbow. Why do we have to paint pictures? Pictures that never come true. Oh, why do we have to tell stories? Sometimes the words are too few. Oh, why do we have to paint pictures? The future is good, that I know. Carefully step as I go. Kissing the one that I love. Life on the wings of a dove. Why do we have to paint pictures? Pictures that never come true. Oh, why do we have to tell stories? Sometimes the words are too few. Oh, Oh, why do we have to paint pictures? The future is good, that I know. Carefully step as I go. Kissing the one that I love. Life on the wings of a dove. Oh, why do we have to paint pictures? Pictures that never come true. Oh, why do we have to tell stories? Sometimes the words are too